Hey guys, it's Jess, and I am sharing a card with you today for the Hedgehog Hollow design team. I am using the October 2019 box to create a card today. Sorry about the lighting here. I've been having some issues with my recording lately. I'm not sure what's going on, but hopefully I'll be able to get it resolved soon. I'm not sure what the problem is. Okay, so to get started with this, don't do what I did here, which is to cut out the die pieces in their place because you don't need that there. You do need those two little pieces, but don't cut them out in their holes. Take the die pieces out and cut them separately from your panel. So this comes with a panel. It comes with the little dial piece and then sort of like a little arm. So cut the arm and the dial separately from your panel. I just didn't realize it at first and I was like, oh, dang it. So I decided I would go ahead and assemble the card first, or the mechanism, so that you could see how it works. This is the double dial die from the Hedgehog Hollow box, and it's this really cool mechanism. I've never seen anything like it before, but basically it moves two slider pieces at the same time. So you move one dial and then two separate pieces move together and apart. It's really, really cool because you can create a whole lot of different things with it. Now, the thing that I would suggest, because I didn't do this and I wish that I would have, it would have made my life a lot easier, use sturdy cardstock, especially for your moving pieces. What I used is technically 110 pound, but it's a fairly flimsy 110 pound cardstock. And if I had used a heavier duty sturdy cardstock, it would have worked much better, because you can see there my little arm piece was kind of bending and moving a little bit rather than actually moving like the mechanism was supposed to. I did go ahead and reinforce my piece and then it worked really nicely. But you know, just so you know. Okay, so I did go ahead and do some ink blending with my Distress Oxides here. I started with chipped Sapphire and then I moved into faded jeans. I then used some Mermaid Lagoon and then finished it off with some cracked Pistachio. I do have to apologize in advance if you can hear the jet noise in the background. I have been trying to do this voiceover for a long time and they are not stopping. So I'm doing the best that I can, but I'm sorry if that bothers you. I do try not to have my voiceovers done during the times that they are doing a lot of flights. But I think at the end of the month, they seem to be doing a lot more around here. They are Navy jets that are flying by. So I frequently joke that that is the sound of freedom. But sorry about that if you can hear it. Anyhow, so I'm just doing some basic ink blending, nothing fancy here. I just kind of did sort of like a gradient effect with the colors. So it went from dark to light down at the bottom, and then I'm spritzing it with a little bit of water. So how I do this is I just spray the water directly into my hand, and then I flick the water onto my card panel. I find that this gives me more random seeming splatters, and I don't get like a fine mist which affects the whole panel. It really makes it more random and splotchy, and I prefer that look. So it's all personal preference. Once I got my ink blending done and I let the panel dry for a little while, I did go ahead and start assembling the mechanism on my card now that it had the background done. That way I could start to figure out what I wanted to do for my scene. So I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to make the mechanism do, like which two things were going to be moving together and apart. I did end up using the stamp sets from this same box. So this is all from the October 2019 box. It comes with 3 stamp sets and a stencil plus the die. So it's a really, really stuffed box full of goodies. I think that's really neat. And then obviously this is something that I've never seen before, so I think that that's really cool. So you can see I was having a little bit of trouble trying to get my mechanism to work here. What I would suggest, if you guys have this or if you're planning on making this, use larger brads. I used small brads when I was doing this, and they did not work super well. Once I switched to larger brads, it worked much better, and the box does come with the right size brads, so if you have the box, you can definitely use the ones that came with it, and those should work. So I decided to go ahead and start building my scene. I'm using the chimney and rooftop stamp from one of the stamp sets. And then I also went ahead and stamped out the Santa Claus because I wanted to have him coming out of the chimney. And later on, I went back and added in some presents. Here I stamped out the reindeer because originally I was thinking like, oh, I'll do some sort of thing where like the reindeer are flying to Santa, so it looks like he's shooting up out of the chimney, and then the reindeer are, you know, coming to get him, basically, like he's jumping back on the sleigh. But the reindeer were facing the wrong direction for that, and I'm going to be honest, I was lazy and I didn't feel like trying to do mirror stamping to make it work. So here we are. Anyhow, I did go ahead and add some little arms. As you can probably see here, I did not do a great job lining those up, but have no fear, I turned them into suspender lines. The little place where the arm ends and the body ends, I overlapped by accident, but I just filled them in with a Copic multiliner, and I think now they look like little suspenders, which I think is really cute. It kind of makes my Santa a little bit more unique than just having the regular stamped image. I think it's super cute. So off camera, I did go ahead and color up my images. I wanted to do this off camera this time because I wanted, well, this video is long already, but I wanted to kind of keep the focus on building the scene and not so much about like the coloring and things like that. I wanted to kind of keep it based on the mechanism so you guys could see how that works. So you can see there, my brad was pretty thick, so I did need to add a couple of little foam dots around the outside to help support my Santa so that he had more of a space to sit on. Now you can see that I have those little squares that I added. This was a tip from Alexandra from the Hedgehog Hollow to add those little squares so that you had more surface area to stick your characters on, and I think that is an excellent suggestion, so I definitely took her advice there. Now, when I went to go put the chimney on, I realized that I needed 2 layers of foam dots because the Santa would not go down into the chimney. It kept getting stuck. So I did layer up double the foam. I just put one right on top of another. And you do need to be careful here where you put your foam dots, because if you put them in the wrong place, your mechanism can't move in and out. It will get stuck. So you do just want to be careful and make sure that you are checking to see where your path is for your little guys to go so that they don't get stuck in your mechanism somewhere. So once I was happy with that, I did go ahead and move on to putting together my stack of presents. I decided to go ahead and do some stamping and masking. The presents all come separately, but I wanted to have like a big stack of presents that he was like dropping or throwing or whatever, I don't know. So I just went ahead and stamped them out once on my paper and then once with the Post-it note tape. And then I masked off, I had to fussy cut the little Post-it note tape, but I masked off the 2 presents on the outside and then just stamped the big stack of presents in the middle. Then I went ahead and colored them up using my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers and then fussy cut the whole stack of presents, and it was ready to be added to my card. So once I added the stack of presents, again, I did have to use foam tape underneath that just to pop it up so that it was even on top of the brad. So just keep in mind this card is going to have quite a bit of dimension. And then here you can see I'm adding foam tape around the outside, being careful to make sure that I don't put the foam tape in the path of my mechanism. Just going anywhere I can that's not going to be in that path so that there's room for it to move underneath, but I'm not blocking the mechanism from moving in any way. And once I did that and had all the foam tape ready to go, I was able to adhere it to a white A2 size card base. And then I heat embossed the sentiment Merry Christmas from one of the other stamp sets. I used white embossing powder on black cardstock, went ahead and trimmed that down and attached it with my Lawn Fawn glue tube. And you can see, look at this super cute little mechanism. It works perfectly. And here's some looks at the finished card. I hope you guys love it, and I hope this inspires you to try this if you haven't tried it yet. But be sure to drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think about it. I'd I'd love to hear what you guys think and if you plan on trying this out. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you loved the video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Follow along the Hedgehog Hollow as well so you never miss an update, and I'll see you guys again in another video really soon.